setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. I am happy you are here. I haven't spoken to anybody for 24 hours. You are the only people I get to talk to besides maybe a client that texts me or send me an email. But I tell you, voice chatter has gone by the wayside. I haven't talked to people for a long time, it seems like. Except when I go to the grocery store and talk to them and see how things are going. I like that. So what we're going to talk about this morning in our podcast, you and I together. You got your cup of coffee. I got mine. It's good stuff, isn't it? Today we're going to talk about dissent, freedom of speech, and how we don't have it anymore. I'll be right back. Listen, if you are having conflicts in your business or in your family, send me a text at 818-252-5682. I mediate those things. Let's get it done.
World of Business and Taxes on WBT.
So here we are, back in the podcast seat. Beautiful day out today. I tell you, it's been really beautiful weather. We have had the coolest weather in the 77 degree range. A week ago it was like 91 degrees. Now we're back down to the 71. I have all my windows open, fresh air flowing through. It's a beautiful day. I love these kind of days. Listen, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the two doctors out of Bakersfield, California. I know that their clinics very well because I used to practice there in Burbank, and their clinics or their urgent care facilities, they run from Bakersfield, well, I think it's up to Fresno all the way down to San Diego. They did a press conference the other day in Bakersfield, and they were talking about the numbers, the data, the statistics, the science behind immunology. And they were talking about this coronavirus, and they were pointing out data that showed that the numbers just were not there to support an emergency situation where things should be locked down so severely. Businesses shut down, healthcare shut down, everything shut down. So they did this video, and it went wild. It went throughout the internet. Millions of people saw it. And in fact, it's being played every single day. Tucker Carlson on Fox News is playing it. And other channels are playing these doctors explaining the statistics and the science behind reopening up America. Well, Google didn't like it. They said it did not go with their policies. Now, I have had stuff taken down on my Facebook, and also on my YouTube account. YouTube said, "Okay, enough of this. It doesn't go along with our policy, so we're taking it down." Which YouTube, by the way, is owned by Google. Okay. Facebook has been doing the same thing. They have these sensors that are looking at everything that's being put onto the web. Not just don't they have censors, but they've got these individuals that are called content people, whatever they are. They're independently outside of Facebook, and they will send you a note. Only half of the stuff that you said was true. Now, I took it, what I posted were items from ABC News or MSNBC or something regarding business. I'm a business guy, okay. But now we've got fact checkers who are checking your comments. And they are saying, oh no, that doesn't apply to our policy. By the way, on YouTube, they support the World Health Organization, and if you post anything on there, right, like these doctors did, that did not comply with what the World Health Organization, they took them down. They banned them. Now, they were dissenting about what the state of California was doing, and also what the World Health Organization was doing. So, the people at YouTube said, no, we don't agree with it, we're taking you down. Now, thank God other people saved it. And thank God the television station that recorded it as a news item saved it. But we're seeing this more and more, where these social media giants are beginning to censor what you say. And let me tell you, there are a lot of government officials who are so happy about this. If you listen to what CNN has said, they are ecstatic about it because they feel that anything that dissents with how they feel or how they view things, it's good to take you down. It's good to delete your comments. Dissent, freedom of speech is being threatened every single day. We see it in mainstream media, and we see it in the internet social media game that's out there. Now, we have a First Amendment rights, every one of us. And what does that say? Well, the First Amendment of the United States Constitution prevents the government from making laws which regulate any establishment of a religion, prohibit the free, and make that in big, bold letters, free exercise of religion, or abridge the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press, the right to peacefully assemble, and the right to petition the government on issues that they feel is wrong that the government is doing. So now we have not just the government, which is ecstatic. A lot of politicians, especially on the Democratic side, are so happy that these social media giants are now pulling out everything that they don't agree with. They're just happy about it. The problem is that we as Americans have this freedom of speech, and it allows us to dissent. If I don't agree with Nancy Pelosi, I get to dissent against her. I get to say, no, Nancy, you're wrong. And if I don't agree with what the World Health Organization is saying, I get to say through freedom of speech and through dissent, who? You are wrong. World Health Organization, I don't agree with your standards. I don't agree with this and that. But now we have a dictatorial type situation in the internet media giants out there that says, if we don't like what you say, and if you are dissenting against a certain organization or philosophy of thought, we are going to shut you down. We're going to delete your video. We are going to censor you. We're going to have a fact checker go after you. See my point? We have gotten to a situation where our constitutional rights under this coronavirus has stomped on our rights as American citizens. This is just common thought process, okay? Just common thought process. Because we have a really good Constitution. That Constitution was designed by our founders to protect you and I. It did not want a government organization to tell you how to worship, who to worship, where to worship, what day to worship on, what hours to worship on. Under the coronavirus, our churches have been shut down. Ding, there goes a constitutional right. It just went away. We have the right to gather in groups and worship together. That is a constitutional right. Government can't tell churches when to shut their doors. They don't have that constitutional right. But under Corona, everything was shut down. And now Gavin Newsom has laid out a plan of how he's going to bring back his state of California. You know what the last thing that he's going to think about? And it was in his press conference of yesterday. Going back to church. That's the last thing. Which should have been the first thing. Because it's constitutionally right to have churches open. Now, this great Constitution of ours gives us this freedom of speech. And when we post something, we should be able to let people know how we feel. Granted, if it's hate speech, if it's degrading speech against minorities and hate crimes and items like that, hate is never acceptable. And we have laws on our books about hate crimes. But the majority of us are not doing that. You and I are not putting out hateful stuff. We are putting out their fact. We are putting out their data. We are putting out their statistics. We're putting out their jokes. We're putting out their pictures of our family. We are not putting hate speech out there. But Yahoo and YouTube have both come to the conclusion that if you go against the World Health Organization, you are not acceptable. You can't dissent against them because that's their rule. So off you go. Delete it. So now we have internet giants telling us what we can and cannot say, what we can and cannot believe in. Pretty soon they'll probably be knocking off your churches, because I know a lot of you are live streaming on Facebook for your churches. They may not agree with your religion. They may not believe in the way that you worship your God. That could be coming next. They've certainly told us you cannot dissent against our political views, because if they don't agree with you on your political views, they knock you out. They shut you down. You see, my point is that we have this great Constitution, and yet our Constitution is not protecting us from certain government people and certain internet giants. Where is our Constitution? Why is not the Attorney General going after our constitutional rights regarding the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom to assemble? YouTube and also Facebook have taken off individuals who are protesting against being locked down. Now that's dissent, and that is allowed under the Constitution. But Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg has said, no, we're not going to allow it. That's bad information. That's harmful information. That's what he has termed it. So what makes you think that he will not turn against your... Excuse me. What was that? Against your religion and say, I don't agree with how you... I don't believe in God, so I don't think you should believe in God, so you can no longer talk about God. You see what direction I'm going with this is that once our constitutional rights are abandoned, they are stomped on, how much further do you think they can go? Because I'm telling you right now, politicians, mainstream media, love what Facebook and Google are doing because they deem anything you put that is in dissent as a lie. So our freedom of speech, our constitutional rights under the First Amendment is being trampled on. The problem is what I see is that we as Americans don't speak up about it. We don't say, you don't have that right. You do not have the right to stop my free speech. If I dissent against who, or if I dissent against the government, or if I dissent against Yahoo, or YouTube, or Facebook, or whoever it is, I have that right. I'm not putting out hate speech. Dissent is not hate speech. Dissent is not bad information. Dissent is not lies. Get that through your head. But it's being done. And it's being done even more by these internet giants. I am all for stopping hate speech as long as it is real hate speech. If a Nazi is out there trying to kill Jews, that's hate speech. If a white supremacist group is out there to do harm against the African American community, that is hate speech. If Antifa is out there publicizing how they're going to hurt conservatives, that is hate speech. Now, if those groups want to talk about the government and the economics and everything else, they have every right to do that. That's fine. That's dissent. But hate speech is when you're trying to do harm to somebody else. The American people are not trying to do harm to anybody else. We love each other. Even if we don't see things politically, we will always be there for each other. No matter who you are, how you believe, who you believe in, what your religion is, whatever it may be. Americans are always there for other Americans. We don't hate. But we do have the right to dissent. We do have the right to ask questions. We do have the right to bring up information and stats and data and everything else that we believe in. If you don't believe in it, you have the right to dissent back, right? Look at the comment section down below when you post something in Facebook. They do it to me all the time. But I don't fight back. I have a good argument. I know what I'm talking about, so I can argue back and I can do, but I can do it in a nice way. I'm not doing it hatefully. I'm not calling anybody names. The other day on LinkedIn, I had an individual from New York, certified financial planner, and we were talking. Somebody posted on the coronavirus. And we were talking about the numbers and everything else that went around it. And I was making my argument, and I was showing them, in fact, I was even showing them the video of the two doctors up in Bakersfield. That was part of my evidence. So this is what he started to do. He didn't like what I was saying. So he said, "You're dumb, you're uneducated, you don't know what you're talking about, you've never gone to school." He didn't even look at my profile, so he doesn't even know who I am or what I do. But he just started calling me names. My response was, listen, I'm presenting to you the facts and statistics and data. You can go ahead and call me names. That's fine. I can take it. I'm a big boy. But I want you to really look at the data that I've presented, the video that I have presented. His response back was to call me more names, and then he went away. And I'm thinking, okay, LinkedIn is a highly professional site. That's where all of us business professions go. We talk to each other, we collaborate, we get education, we watch the videos. It's really business focused. It's very seldom that we have political postings there. Very, very seldom. It's always on business. The problem is that this guy, who is a certified financial planner, and to get that certification, it's a lot of hard work. But for him to act the way that he acted and to say the words and the attack words that he did was highly unprofessional. But we have that First Amendment. And he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. Now, I can be an idiot and take it very emotionally and get angry back. But I didn't. Because I understand that when you enter a forum on social media, and if you respond or if you ask a question, you open yourself up to a whole bunch of stuff because freedom of speech. Sometimes it's mean. Sometimes it's downright dirty. I've even had people say, "Shut up, your eyebrows are too big." That's how stupid it is. Freedom of speech. And freedom to laugh about it. But it becomes very dangerous when internet, social media begins to censor what we say in our dissent and our freedom of speech. It's very dangerous when institutions like these have the ability to shut us down. Now, we have the Constitution, and I'm really hoping that the Attorney General of the United States and the Attorney Generals of various states say, okay, enough is enough. You can no longer censor us. You can no longer shut down dissent, because that's what this United States is all about. I love a good debate. I love a good debate. And I tell you, I have some really good friends. I'm surprised we don't walk away sometimes with bloody noses because it gets so heated. But you know what the best thing about it is that we understand that we have that freedom of dissent. And when we're done, we go get our can of Coke and we start talking about the Dodgers. It totally changes because friends are really good at not taking things personally. Well, some are. I had one friend once, but this wasn't about... This was not about what we had said. Well, it might have been, but it was Super Bowl, and his team was winning. And of course, he's a very good friend, but I didn't realize he would take it so to heart. And I was just pounding down on his... I was pounding down on his team because they were losing so badly. He stormed out of the room. He was mad. To this day, he and I, and that was almost 20 years ago, can you believe it? We have only sat down one time to watch the Super Bowl. And thank God that Super Bowl was the worst Super Bowl ever. And we could both agree that it was a stupid Super Bowl. But dissent is a constitutional right. It's in the Constitution, freedom of speech. And we also have the freedom to assemble in dissent if we want to. Now, if we become violent, we don't have the right to become violent, but we do have the right to dissent. We have the right to view our opinions. So all those individuals that were marching on the very first day of January, was it 2016, 17, 18, 19? No, 17, 2017. All those ladies walking around with pink hats who were angry about, I'm not quite sure what they were angry about, to tell you the truth. They had that freedom. They had the freedom to assemble and the freedom to dissent. And the freedom of speech to let people know how they felt. The only problem, we still don't know how they feel. But we do know that they exercise their constitutional rights. Even though we didn't like it, a lot of us didn't like it, what in the world are they doing? But we still understand that the Constitution was the most important article that they had to protect the way that they felt. Just like conservatives, when they go out and they have these big rallies for Donald Trump, freedom to assemble, freedom to dissent, freedom of speech, freedom to support. That's what freedom of speech. But you have other people outside that don't like the message, so then they become violent against those individuals who they don't believe in. Wouldn't you know it? As soon as I'm doing a podcast, people decide to text me. My phone begins to vibrate. But you understand what I'm trying to say, that we have to be very careful about the approach that Facebook and the approach of Google and YouTube and other social media outlets are censoring what you and I are saying. And listen, if you do get censored, protest it. I protest every single one of mine. Sometimes they put it back on, sometimes they don't. But you have that ability to fight back. And you need to fight back if your constitutional rights are being ignored, stomped on. We have that ability. We are Americans, and we all operate under the same laws. But it's the vision of some people who think that they are right in their political dissent by blocking you because they don't agree with you. When they start blocking other people's views and other people's arguments and other people's dissent, then they are in violation of the Constitution. Now they have this way of explaining it that sounds, we need to protect you on the internet. But they're not protecting you. They're protecting their own political views, their own political agenda, not yours. Because you don't agree with them, so you have said something that they don't agree with, so they're going to stop you, they're going to shut you down, they're going to block you, they're going to delete your message. And we see it every single day. I see comments every single day. Facebook has taken down 3 of my videos. Now, a lot of times these videos are not what they've made, it's what they've copied and moved over into Facebook. Either from a TV news channel or from YouTube or something like that. And they get blocked. So let's wrap this up because it's really important that we all are on the same page. You and I have got to be on the same page on this. We need to protect our constitutional rights. We need to ask the attorney generals of our states to protect us, and they need to step in. If the attorney generals do not protect our constitutional rights, then we have the ability to dissent. And they can't stop you. They may try, but they can't. So we need to be more aggressive. Protect your constitutional rights. If they delete you, put it on again. They don't have the right to stop you every single time. Freedom of speech. Article 1 of the Constitution. Freedom of religion. Freedom to assemble. And it goes on. Every one of us should be protecting our constitutional rights. Otherwise, there may be that day when someday down the road the politician says, enough, I'm going to shut that group down because I don't believe in them. I'm going to shut them down. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to tell you because it's very, very important. If you're in business, you should be very concerned about your freedom of speech. If you are protecting people's rights as an attorney, you should be very, very concerned about your ability to post without being censored. If you are a religious group, a pastor, you should be very concerned about an internet organization being able to censor your freedom of speech, your belief in God. It's important to think about. Listen, if you have any questions or comments, send me a text at 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. I encourage all of you to go on to onto Amazon.com and buy my 3 books. Look for me. I'm Michael Lodge, Lodge. I've got 3 books. Ethically Thinking, It's Not That Hard. Daily Agenda, and Corona. Remember when. 3 books. Very good books out there. In fact, in my Ethically Thinking book, I write about the media and how they do not comply with their own rules as a media group, of how they're supposed to report, how they're supposed to do their research, how they're supposed to not be biased. It's all in their rules. But they don't follow it. They just don't follow it. Everybody go out and have a great day. This is Mike Lodge. Go out and get some sunshine. Get some sunshine, get some vitamin D, get some fresh air into your lungs. Get some nice, good oxygen going. This is Mike Lodge. Everyone have a great, great day.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.